وزنة عرشه ومداد كلماته اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني قولي اللهم مصرف القلوب صرف قلوبنا على طاعتك. O Allah, the one who turns the hearts, turn our hearts towards your obedience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Seems like I'm seeing and hearing everyone after a very long time. So to continue from where we started, where we stopped the last class, we were doing envy as one of the diseases of the hearts. And we stopped on the signs and symptoms. We did casting criticism, envious of others' possessions, competing on social media, because real life cannot be compared to a Photoshop life. And today we'll be doing intention and actions to remove blessings. The first disease that existed regarding envy was not even on earth. It was the first time Iblis saw Hazrat Adam alayhi salam, and he was told to bow down, and he said, Ana khayru min khalaqtani min nari wa khalaqtahu min teen. What? He said, why should I bow down to him? This thing is made of clay and I am fire. So I deserve all the respect, and why should he have it? And this feeling of envy in him, it persisted, and it went to a level where he got Hazrat Adam alayhi salam to have that forbidden fruit. And then till today, until the end of times, he holds this grudge, this anger against all mankind. Where did this start? This started when that feeling of envy came to him. If we talk about the first murder that was done on earth, the first murder ever done on earth was the two brothers, Cain and Abel, Habil and Kabil, where one brother was given a lot of blessings and the other brother got jealous, and what he did was he started focusing on his brother's blessings instead of improving from where he was. And when that happened, and when that feeling persisted, it continued and it grew and it grew. It led him to malice, and finally he ended up murdering his own brother. So when this envy, we talked about envy and why is it so dangerous? This is the one disease that has no cure, and even the mere existence of it in your heart is sin. It's a sin, and it needs to be cut and removed as soon as it enters your heart. And that is why, because if not harnessed, if not controlled, and if not removed, it can lead to a lot of danger. We talked about wasting your good deeds, right? Burning them like fire burns wood and grass. And we all know how hard it is to earn good deeds. So basically, when we have this feeling of envy, we are not only destroying our akhirah, we are ruining our dunya, and we are also causing shar or harm to the person we envy, and also to our own spiritual well-being. So there is actually nothing good about this, the concept of envy. And we also talked about the fact that that person, the sad part is that person has done nothing to you. Anger is when someone entices you, someone has done something to you, someone is unjust to you, someone has caused you to be angry. But what has a person you envy done to you? What zulm have they done to you? They don't even know. You are just feeling it for some reason that we will talk about. So intention and actions to remove blessings is when you are severely occupied with your object of envy. And you might be doing this consciously or unconsciously. When you're swifting through the Facebook pages and a lot of the Instagram pics of their parties or what they are doing, of what they are wearing or what they are going, and you are following them, following turns to stalking them, and you are just doing this within yourself, then you're multiplying that feeling that came to your heart, right? And then when that happens, you are consciously and subconsciously desiring that those blessings be taken away from that person, be snatched away from that person. When you want his bounties, whatever Allah has blessed them with, to be taken away, whether you get them or not, but you just are focusing on that person ke bas isko na hai, isse chin jaye. Why do they have it? So that is an intention and action to remove blessings. You are giving them the gaze of envy, and we all know that the gaze of envy can actually kill people. It can be a cause of death for someone. It is that dangerous. And we have seen that when someone is having a bad relationship with the spouse, and someone, oh, do you know, my husband did this, my husband did that, my husband is so sweet. So what happens? You start envying the person, and you wish that something goes wrong with their marital relationship, because you feel that if you're not happy, then they don't deserve to be happy. How can they be happy when you're not happy? You just want to be, you want to have that, and you want it to be taken away from them. So this is actually a disease of the shaitan, and there is no cure for it if it persists in your heart. So there are 3 symptoms when you can understand this, by that you are becoming obsessed about that person who hasn't harmed you, number 1. Number 2, you are happy at the misfortune of the other person. And this other person, you might be showing that, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. But then if your heart of hearts that you are quite relieved that this happened to them, then you know that you are festering this disease in yourself. And if you are sad at the happiness of that person, of Auzubillah, of that your brother, your sister in deen, or whatever it is, and but your life is still the same, the person has not done anything to you, but you are still sad that how come this person is happy. If someone else gets promoted, and this happens everywhere, even it happens in families, it happens in friends. If someone gets something and you don't have it, then you wish that they lose their position because you didn't get it and you are more deserving of it. This is the feeling. So when you have the intention, everything starts with the intention, right? It's the first starts with that feeling. You let that feeling build in you, consciously or subconsciously. If you don't treat it, then it starts growing. And when it grows to a point where you can't take it, it starts with a little bit of, heard this about that person. What do you think? So, and then it starts with gossip, it starts with slander, and we might not be murdering people, but we are definitely eating the flesh of our dead brother. You know that gossip is equal to that, Surah Gujarat. Imagine eating the flesh of your dead brother or sister. That's what gossip is like. And why do people gossip? We all know. Because they want somehow some harm done to their reputation or whatever blessing that they have. So these are the signs and symptoms. And this is just a little. Was the first one obsessed with? The first symptom was you're obsessed about that person who hasn't harmed you. You're just obsessed about that. So this picture, I just thought this is our internal situation. Envy is like the acid, which eats up the vessel. And this is our, imagine that, this is our insides. And if it is stored in ourselves, this is what the acid does to us. How healthy do you think our brain and heart and our soul will be? ऊपर से we might be looking okay, but अंदर से we're all eaten up. We're all empty. We're all sad. We're all depressed. And we're not happy individuals. We're not healthy spiritual beings. So, this is what envy does to our internals. So there comes ambulance, the treatments, how do we treat this disease called envy? First of all, we need to understand, and when we understand this, inshallah ta'ala, I found it very easy for myself to analyze if I'm getting envious, and it became easier for me to let go of it. Was number 1, that be content with the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all wise. Allah is Al-Hakim, all wise. He's all knowing, He's Al-Alim, and he is fully aware. He's Al-Khabir. He is the one that distributes the provision. He is the Ar-Razaq, right? And it is he who gives to people, he who blesses them. So you do not question what the creator decided for someone, the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed anyone, what they have received. We have no say in it because this was Allah's decision, right? And Allah is Al-Wasi'ah, and he is the Lord of the heavens and the earth. When we say that, okay, I wish that this person doesn't get it and I get it, we are actually not believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We are na'uzubillah not understanding that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if all the man and jinn from the beginning of the world till the end of the universe were to stand together and ask Allah for everything they wished at the same time, Allah ke khazanon mein koi kami nahi aayegi. Then why do we become so stingy to the thought that you want to steal something that someone else is blessed with? You can ask for it for yourself and many folds of it. Why would we want to be wanting it to be taken from Allah? From that person. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ke khazano mein koi kami nahi. If he can bless that person, he can bless you tenfold. Plus, understand that Allah is Al-Hakim. There is certain wisdom. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless that person? And seemingly, that might be a blessing, that might seem like a blessing to you. Maybe it's not a blessing for that person. Maybe it's a test. Maybe it's a false notion. Maybe that blessing that you might think is a blessing is a difficulty for them. Maybe they are suffering. And this has happened to me personally. I see couples or people so happy, and I'm like, Subhanallah, how amazing. But when you understand how empty and how miserable and the reality of situations, you're like, Alhamdulillah, that I am in a much better place. You know, when you look at people from grass is always greener on the other side. Dur ke dhol suhane hote. But when you actually delve into any person's life, لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي كَبَدٍ. This is, Allah has said that for everyone there is hardship. That is their package. You have your own package. So, and some people might, that notion of that blessing, how do you know that person is, if you see someone very wealthy, maybe all that wealth is coming from sood. It is haram income. Maybe they are, because of that excessive wealth, they're indulging in haram like alcohol, like gambling, like too much mixing. Someone's very popular. How? Because too much mixing with the non-mahrams, right? So this is getting them a blessing that you think, but this is leading them to hellfire. It's bad. So why do we see celebrities hanging themselves? Mostly people who have all the fame, wealth, most beautiful, the richest. Why is the suicide rate with them so high? There has to be something missing that we think they have everything, but their lives are just as empty. So we'll come to that. So be content with that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decisions are the best. He is Allah al-Ghuyub. He knows the unforeseen. What if someone is blessed with some blessing, and if you were given that blessing, we don't know how our package would change. Would we want those same difficulties and tests? I don't think so. Maybe we can't bear them. Maybe we start indulging in things that instead of giving us the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we start getting the anger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that blessing might be for the dunya, you might be very happy, but you are actually ruining your akhirah. So how was that any beneficial to us? So we need to be content, and we need to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decisions are the best, right? And if you are happy at the happiness of others, you have actually understood Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and you know him by his names. If you are happy at the happiness of others. Then we come to shunning envy and avoiding depression. Dr. Jordan Peterson, he's a psychiatrist, and he talks about envy and says that if you scratch any person below the surface, you will find that their life consists of some trouble. right? And the best person to compete with is yourself. Because if you are competing yourself with someone else, that's not a fair race. Because you don't know how they got there. You are not part of their package. How can you be comparing yourself to them? You don't know their struggles. You don't know anything about them. And you are just standing where you are and you want to compete with what they have. So that's not a fair race. So the best thing to do is the fair race is to race with yourself. Slow incremental improvement from where you are is the best place to start the race. That's what he says. और इसमें होता ये है कि when you start jumping and you start running or try to, not having done the hard work, maybe if the other person has done it, then you have not made yourself worthy of that. How can you ask? And this is if someone has earned something themselves. Sometimes people are blessed with more beauty. People are blessed with more intelligence. People are blessed with more wealth. People are blessed with more sons, more children, more power, more esteem. There will always be someone who's a better cook than you. There will always be someone who's fairer than you, slimmer than you, thinner than you, smarter than you. So why are we getting into this little, uh, you know, mini myopic race? We need to accept it. فَضَّلَ اللَّهُ بَعْضَكُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given fazl to some over some. Jumu'ah, the day of Jumu'ah, has more fazilat than the other days. Ramadan has more fazilat over the other months. Quran, as our book, has more fazilat over all the other books. And Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam has more fazilat over all the other Rasuls, right? Deen Islam has been given more fazilat to all the other deens. So this ye to Allah ka nizam hai. You will always find some people having more fazl than some people. So we need to have a positive outlook to it and have a win-win situation. If you don't have that win-win personality, you'll always be miserable and you'll always be stuck in a rut, always unhappy because you will always find someone who's better than you. But you are not focusing on your own blessings. You're not seeing how beautiful you are. You're not seeing how you are blessed. You're not seeing your own qualities. You're not seeing all that you have, right? So if you want to avoid depression, you need to shun envy. And we see that this happened with Yusuf alayhi salam. His brothers got jealous of his beauty, how he was favorite of his dad, how he was so intelligent as a child. And this kind of envy grew in them. It grew to a point where, if you read Surah Yusuf, that they decided to kill him. And they ended up throwing him in a well. So what was that a result of? Envy. They just wanted what he had. Did they get it? Question. No, they still didn't get it. So what did they get out? Nothing. बस जिल्लत ही उनको मिली. So this is, you see, envy leads to misery, it leads to malice, it leads to sin, and then it later on leads to resentment. Habil and Kabil, the brother, after he murdered his own brother, he felt a lot of nadamat, he felt a lot of hurt. And it's mentioned that how he felt the hurt. So if we want to avoid and protect ourselves from this depression, we need to understand and ask, mirror, mirror on the wall, who has the fairest heart of us all, right? So the next time you see the mirror, you ask the mirror that. And when I said that to myself, I said, I'm trying. So keep trying, right? And inshallah, we're all trying our best, whatever we can do. But this envy is, you see, isme problem ye hai ki whatever you do, there is no escape to keeping it in your heart. Jaise you feel it, waise you need to deal with it. And inshallah, we'll just come to how, go deeper into how we can do that. Okay, we know that envy consumes your good deeds, right? And it destroys them. And there is actually no advantage to it. It's actually a fast track to hell, because there are 6 people that will be dragged to hell a year before the resurrection. Hisab se pehle, ek saal pehle, they will be dragged to hell. And the hasideen, the envious will be one of them. There are 6 categories. So just like the fuqara will be taken to Jannah 50,000 years before anybody else, the sabirin, the patient, will enter Jannah without hisab. The hasidin will enter Jannah without hisab. So we really want to understand that this is a very serious, and the thing about envy is how it goes uh, you know, let's say not treated, is because it is jihad of ourselves with ourselves. It is one part of the soul against the other part of the soul. No one knows about it. You see, this is jihad in ourselves with ourselves. So if we are fooling ourselves in saying, nay, nay, it's how I feel, and if you're just pushing that voice down, but still somewhere inside you know that that's what it is, you really need to nip it in the blood, in the bud. So what we can do is, the next step is do opposite of desire. Desire in Arabic is hawa, and we do opposite of what we are feeling like we want to do. What is the first thing you want to gossip about that person? So whenever you feel that urge, you actually say something nice about that person. You praise that person, whether behind their back is even better. If you honor people when you feel the urge to envy them, and how do you honor them? You respect them, you be good to them, and you meet them with humility. Also, you see that in families and friends and circles, some people are just unknowingly, I'm not judging anyone, but if we feel that we just sometimes want to be rude to someone for no reason, check yourselves. Why are you feeling that? Right? And you need to now, that is the time when the tazkiyah helps. So this is the objective of tazkiyah, is to transform these diseases into something beneficial, right? So when you transform this disability that you are feeling, and you change it into something, and if you change it into something advantageous, for example, you want to criticize and slander, and you turn it into praise for someone, and if you do it behind their back, Alhamdulillah, you were able to conquer your own shaitan, I would say, right? Your own nafs. So, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا. So you are actually successful because you have learned to control your nafs. What else can you do? You defy the commands of your impulse, whatever you're feeling like, to gain the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You can give a gift to the person to create love and to do them a favor, and they will in return be nice to you, and that will create a feeling of softer hearts towards each other. They will treat you likewise, and that will reduce the envy. This is when you are feeling envy for someone, right? What if you understand that someone feels envy for you, and you have an understanding that they do? And this can happen in deen, this can happen outside, this can happen in friends, family, because remember that envy usually happens with people we know. It's people we are around or surrounded with. It doesn't happen with, generally doesn't happen with strangers. So when you feel that you are getting the feeling that someone is envious of you, you give them a gift. And this is Isa. This is a very high level. This is Ahsan Amal. So what will that do? It will soften their hearts towards you. Right? So this is another thing that you can do. This is another tip. And you see, this is the freedom to let go. When you do the opposite of desire, you are actually now not a slave to your heart. You are actually, this is freedom, and you don't harbor the envy. You listen to your inner voice, you understand it, and you be honest with yourself. Be honest. And then don't try to trick yourself. You nip it in the bud. You talk about, what are you feeling? How can you feel like that? Are you not believing in the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And then you feel that, then you understand that, oh, this is going to take away my deeds. Is it really worth it? No, it's not. I wish them well. So, and you do dua for the one you envy. Now, this can come as very difficult because this is the last thing you want to do for someone you envy. Last thing. So, this is the cure. This is the this is a cherry on the cake, right? So you do dua that for that person. And we have talked about all the incentives, because if you do that, you have actually gone against your nafs, and now you will be rewarded for it. Okay, envy is a sin if you persist on it, but if you control it, and if you are going against that desire of yours, you will actually get reward for it. And you never know, Allah will bless you with something, I mean, much bigger than you have ever imagined, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what's in your hearts. Okay, so we do dua for the person. How can we do dua for the person if that person is in front of you and you're just looking at them, you're like, hmm, I don't want to do that compliment right now. It is so just say Allahumma barik laki, Allahumma barik lahu. You can say that to them, you can say barakallah to others, you can say tabarakallah, and you can say when you admire yourself, you can say mashallah to yourself, right? So you are actually protecting yourself and others and everyone around you with these softer words of love. Okay, may Allah bless you. That's what it means. So this dua will not only benefit you, and if you do dua for them, for example, if someone you find has something, and if you do dua for them, then the angels, what do they say? They say same for you, and you can be selfish about that. So this is a good way. You want something for yourself, have the angels pray for you. How do you do that? Give dua to the other person, and you'll have the angels pray for you. Imagine. So that's really beautiful. So this is something you can take home. So says be envy, or you can give dua. No, that's a beautiful thing. But right now we're dealing with specifically someone, even Alhamdulillah, if you have that kind of a beautiful heart and you really want to just do dua for everyone, go ahead. This is a beautiful way. We must do dua for our ummah, for everyone around us, for our family, and we should do it all the time so that the angels say same for you. For the other, if you are facing a difficulty with your children, you do dua for other people's children, you do dua for their hidayah, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the angels will pray for you, right? So the blessings will come to you. Okay, so the etiquettes is we do, one thing is we want to protect ourselves from envy. From the envier when he envies, from the hasid. Why do we want to do something that we are asking for protection for ourselves? Why would we need to ask ourselves, why would I want to be a source for someone as shar when I'm trying to protect myself from shar? So we don't want to be the hasid. If we are reading the three kuls, we are reading Mawazatain, we are doing Subha Sham ke Askar, may Allah protect my children, my spouse, myself, my family, my parents, my deen, and my blessings. Why do we want to be the person giving it to someone? So this is also something that we need to keep in mind, because this is your jihad with yourself. And if the thought of envy comes to your mind, you're sitting somewhere and suddenly the thought comes to you, and this is someone you've been envying for a while. Just read La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah to that thought, right? And then Allah ki madad aayegi, and that will bring you reward. So because we want to shun it as soon as it comes, because we don't want to keep it. Remember, that's a sin. If you are persisting it in your heart, then that becomes a sin. Monitor your heart. Ask Allah. Keep asking Allah for qalbi salim, a sound heart that is, free of all these diseases. And we can do. How can we keep our hearts pure? And not focusing on these nitty-gritty things and the possessions of others, it is do more tilawah of the Quran, busy ourselves with more zikr, subah sham ke askar we can read, and we can make dua, we can do this jihad against our soul, and it's a very good feeling. It's a beautiful feeling when you have actually conquered something. It's called a personal victory, right? You have set goals for yourself. People don't know about it, but you're just feeling good about it. And that the smile that it brings to your face is just a wow for yourself. You give yourself a thumbs up, right? And what else can we do? Yes, seek your own provision. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a raza. He is the one who provides, but you have to also struggle for what you want in life. Tawakkul comes, everything comes, but then we have to struggle, or we have to work hard for what we want. We can't be having our eyes on others and just want that and not working for it. So that's lazy. That's being وَمَن يُوقَ شُحَّ نَفْسِهِ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُفْلِحُونَ, that whoever gets rid of the stinginess, this jealousy, that whatever you're feeling in your heart, then those are the people who are successful. So we discussed a few definitions of successful, right? Ek to tha tazkiya. Then I'm telling you, the shuha nafsi, whatever is in your nafs, whatever the stinginess is in your heart, if you get rid of that, that is also Allah saying that you will be successful, right? Getting into Jannah, protecting yourself from hellfire, that's another definition of success. So now we have a good idea of, we're getting a bigger picture of how we define success. It's not what they have, it's what you have and what you can do with yourself, right? So we need to work for what we wish for, and we don't need to sulk over what others have and what blessings they have, and never lose hope. Okay, but you can lose hope in one thing. What is that? So you lose hope in what other people possess because it's not yours. It was never meant to be yours. So just lose hope in what others have because it was never yours. And don't compete with people over dunya, right? So we have 10 minutes of, we can have some question answer or discussions. Yes.
Yeah. So when you say to opposite of desire, as you said, okay, you can praise somebody if you're feeling envious of them, wouldn't that kind of come under the category of being a hypocrite?
Yeah, I thought of that too. But the thing is that your niya is not that. You are trying to get rid of your shuh of your nafs right now. This is not you being a hypocrite. This nobody knows about this, but I'm struggling myself. I know why I said it. I'm trying to kill something in myself right now. So, and it doesn't have to be so exaggerated, but you can just say something pleasant to that person. It doesn't have to be. It depends. It depends on how it works for you. For sometimes it's just very hard to say something pleasant to someone you don't like.
People around where you know that they're envious of you, and then they say all the right things to you. Right. So whether then it becomes a struggle between or
And how do you know? And how do you know that they're envious of you? Can you read minds?
no
That's a generalization.
actions of their words, way they've been behaving. So I feel that comes under the
Right. Yes, they are. But how I deal with that is that मैं अपनी दुनिया में I try and be happy and I just take people on face value. I don't want to judge what's in their hearts because I really don't know. And that would really make me judgmental of people.
Yeah.
Yes, you are right in what you are saying, but I'm saying how do we, because this class is my tazkiya and your tazkiya. So we are not here doing tazkiya of others who have not attended Heart Talk. Right. So we are trying right now, focusing on what we can do. Let them be whatever they're doing. If they're surrounded by filth, if they're living in filth, if their hearts are dirty, that's okay. That's their life. Right now, I need to clean myself and things around me so that I can be of maybe a role model for others. And inshallah, you will see that when we start actually changing, people around us really start changing. So try that. Someone said, can you please repeat the three, Asra is saying, can you please repeat the 3 points: obsession with someone, comfort in their sorrows, and the third one was sad at the happiness of the person. Your life is the same, it hasn't changed, but you're still unhappy because the other person that you envy is happy. Yes, see.
My question came of that opposite of desire. By desire, what do you mean by desire? Like
Whatever you're feeling at that, like
only
desire हो रही है कि अभी मैं इसकी बहुत gossip करूं और मैं इसकी बेइज्जती करूं. Somehow just let her down in the minds of people. Say something that people will be like, oh really? So oh, I didn't know that. So whatever that instinct that you're feeling to hurt the other person, how do we hurt people? Either verbally or behind their back. And so whatever you're feeling, you go against that because you know this is not the right thing to do, no matter how much that itch is there. And it is really itchy, right? So we need to not do that. Yeah.
but yeah,
Khushamad pasand to is someone who is trying to get something done from others. भाई तो आप तारीफ ना करिए. This point does not apply to everyone. These are the treatments. You do whatever works for you. This does not mean that you start forcing yourself to start giving compliments, right?
वैसे अच्छा खाना पसंद करती जा रही हूँ. I know.
वो देखिए, yeah, that will come later. That will come later. At that point, when you just want to say something bad about this is okay. Let's make it like you want to gossip about someone. Okay, I want to say Fala Fala did this, or she was, rude to me at that point. Either you just don't say anything, or if because someone witnessed that person being rude, so they said, "Oh, I heard," So you say, "No, it was nothing like that. I think people misunderstood." So that's it.
बहुत अच्छी बन गई.
Not chili, but it was, you can say it was misunderstood, or, maybe it's a bone I have to pick with her. I'll just talk to her about it. I don't want to discuss it with others. You can say it like that. I don't want to make a fuss out of it. I'll just discuss it with her. Yeah, it's done with. Yeah, something like that. Right? What you can do is people जिनकी आपने गीबत की हो, what you can do is now you can start praising them behind their back. Number one, you can give them gifts and you can do dua for them. And there is a dua that I think that people you have insulted, you might find it Muslim, that people you have insulted or hurt, there is a dua you can read for them. Okay, may Allah, it was something like, may Allah, whatever happened, make this a source of your qurbat to them, closeness. So you want that reward there to get Allah to reward them for it, right? So inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will, he's very merciful. Yes. Alaikum assalam.
Yes, as I had mentioned, that children are eating, like the children done that they all the chicken, lots of red, So, just feed someone and just share it. And they start eating. But you might be, I don't know if you'll be envious of, the fact that your children are not eating. Some child is eating. I don't know if this would make sense. But the Ustad had mentioned that all of the bachis are happy.
Yes,
The bachis
bilkul.
So, yeah.
That's what I said. If you're hurt, if you're worried about your children, you start praying for other people's children. Then the angels will pray for your children, right? Halima had a question and I missed it, and now she's saying, please try.
It's for a particular person.
It should we try to?
Get a loan if we feel envious for a particular person.
Should we try and get a loan if we feel envious to other?
I understand. Yeah, it's isolate yourself.
A loan. Oh, I'm sorry. I was like, I thought whatever works. If at that point you just feel better that okay, going to this party will make you, if you're not, will make you very envious or it will hurt you, because you see sometimes these days it's happening, social pressure. This happens to all of us. There are certain social circles where you go and you come home very upset and unhappy because you see people flaunting and you see people on social media and in real life showing lives that are beyond, beyond reality, right? And then you see a lot of extravagance or whatever it is. And then you come home a bit sad that, dil ajeeb sa hota, because they are so full of dunya. They're so full of dunya that sometimes you feel like, am I losing out? Like, what do I have? It seems like they have everything. Don't go to such places. I would suggest I try and avoid places where my heart feels a little upset or a little closed. You see, actually, this question was very good because there was one point that I forgot, and that was Suhbat al-Salihin. Suhbat al-Salihin means keep the company, keep solid company, keep good company. So if you keep good company, you will not have these feelings. Right? So that will protect you from this, whatever this feeling of envy that is. So inshallah, we'll finish this here. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.